Hey guys, how's it going? We are live here on YouTube and soon to be previously recorded for the audio podcast released at a later time. I am Beans Baxter. This is a last watch. I appreciate you guys dropping in. Um, Hope everybody's doing good. We're here uh, in the middle of March in Alaska. You know, it's uh, it's a toss up. One day it'll be almost 40, and the next day it'll be in the teens. So we'll see what's going to happen. Every year around this time, we get a huge dump of snow, a big one last big death rattle, I guess, from winter. And everybody, I did a meme about it a couple of weeks ago because they were forecasting some snow, and it's basically, Mother Nature drops snow on a huge amount of snow in Alaska every March, and then Alaskans every March, and then it's Pikachu doing his surprise face with his, he's like, oh my gosh, because it happens every year, every single year, and everybody's surprised. What's going to happen is we're not going to get it this year because I'm expecting it. It's going to wait till like May, and it has snowed here in May before. It didn't really stick, but we've had snow in May before for sure. And there's Marshall from Selkirk Range Sasquatch. Oh my gosh! And look, there's Grassman. The gang's all here. Holy cow! Awesome. Glad to see you guys. Be sure and go and check out Marshall's Selkirk Range Sasquatch channel. He has a new video up where it's a mini documentary about the abandoned military base we went to in Coville, Washington. And I'm really looking forward to watching it. I haven't had it. He's dropped it a couple of days ago. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm so bad about keeping caught up on podcasts and channels. Same thing with Grassman58. Check out his YouTube channel. He's got some awesome videos. He's got some great vocals and some really cool track finds on his page or channel. You guys hear my dogs in the background here. So those of you that follow me on the social medias know that we got a new puppy. And he is at this moment going to the vet to get his rabies shot. So let's hope that he does well with that. But he's doing good. He's really, I'm a little bit of a trendsetter because, as you may know, if you follow the news, that French bulldogs are now the number one most popular dog in America. And of course, being the trendsetter I am, I'm so full of crap. I've had Frenchies for a while now, and great dogs, awesome. Although I was contemplating getting maybe a bigger dog, maybe something like a German Shepherd or something to take, because I wanted a squatching dog is what I wanted, like a dog that I could take camping with me and kind of feel safe, instead of me worrying about, because when I take my Frenchies camping, I'm like, are they okay? Are they, because they're not, as far as defensive capabilities go, let's be honest, they don't really have any. So I was kind of wondering maybe if I should get me a more robust breed to take camping with me. And I don't know. I looked into it. I did some research and saw how much basically exercise that those kind of dogs need. And I've talked myself out of it for now. Yeah, don't take a black lab. That's what Marshall says. Oh, and Pedikov Mita is here. Alex is here. He's snowed. He got his March dump of snow today. He's actually snowed in right now. So yeah, Frenchies are amazing. But yeah, I was kind of thinking like, man, I need me a man's dog. I need me a squatching dog, and I don't know. I just don't think I'm ready to commit to that level of a dog that I need to exercise that much. I was looking at the police dogs, the Belgian Malinois, and those things need like 2 hours of exercise a day. And my Frenchies, they're pretty good. 20 minutes of exercise a day. Doesn't even really have to be vigorous. Just take them for a walk usually, and they're good. I can't imagine having to exercise the dog for 2 hours a day, and some of it be vigorous exercise, like they need to run. So I don't know. Uh, Maybe if the opportunity presents itself sometime in the near future, I will look into it a little bit more. But for right now, I think I'm good with my Frenchies. But yeah, tonight I kind of wanted to talk about the theme of tonight's show is the problem with Bigfoot TV, and I want to get into that here in a second. But before I do, I want to make sure and mention, because I forget every once in a while. Don't forget, guys, this June 10th and 11th at in Fairbanks is going to be the Boreal Bigfoot Expo. In fact, I just happen to be wearing my Boreal Bigfoot hoodie tonight. And if you guys head over to the Boreal Bigfoot Expo website, you can buy tickets to attend. If you can't attend, you can buy some sweet swag like this hoodie I'm wearing and support the event. We're going to have some great speakers there this year. Alex is going to be there from Pedikov Media. Eli, of course, is going to be there with Alex. Rob Roy is going to be there, which I believe he's going to be making his conference debut there. I don't know. I think this might be the first time he's ever attended and spoken at a conference. I think he's maybe been to conferences before, but just as an attendee. I'm kind of curious. I wonder, like, I haven't really spoke to him much about it, but I'm almost wondering maybe if we could set up like almost like a Bigfoot sketch artist booth with him, where people can come to his booth and kind of give them like descriptions if they've had sightings, and he can maybe sketch really quick what they've seen. I don't know. That's just an idea I've been toying around with. I haven't talked to him about it yet, so don't show up saying Beans was said you'd draw my Bigfoot. So I'm sorry. They're just snoring. They went to group today and they got to play with their friends. They have more of a social life than I do, so they're over there snoring right now. But I'm gonna try and make it quick so that I can get off here and be ready for when the little man gets home from his vet appointment. Because when my wife opens the door, these two are going to go crazy. So I wanted to talk about Bigfoot TV. And I'm not so much talking about a specific television show that's on or has been on. I don't really want to name names, although I will talk about Finding Bigfoot a little bit, but mostly positive. But I wanted to talk about just basically, this is mostly for you guys that are researchers or consider yourself enthusiasts that go out and actually look for Bigfoot. If you haven't by now, at some point, probably here in the future, you're going to get an email or a call. Somebody's going to approach you. They're going to contact you on social media and say, hey, I'm with, Discovery Channel, Travel Channel, some TV production company, and we want you. We're interested in filming with you or doing a show with you. And, I've been really fortunate that most of the TV appearances I've done, I thought turned out really well. There was one, like the very first one, where I didn't feel like I was portrayed quite correct. Like it was a show where they were looking for the short-nosed bear, the mega bear. And because I was basically the only cryptid guy they could get in touch with in Alaska, they asked me if I'd be interested. And of course I was TV, of course, I'll do it. And I told them, I said, hey, look, guys, I love to participate. I'll help any way I can, but I'm not going to lie. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to, I understand, like, we have to make things a little dramatic. It's TV, but I won't lie. And they're like, yeah, okay, sure. No problem. And so we go out and we're doing our thing. And they really wanted me to have had a sighting of one of these giant bears. And I was like, no, I've seen some bears and I've seen some big bears, but I've never seen a bear that I would say is unnaturally large or, prehistorically large. And basically they were filming my interview segment, and they kept asking me, like, well, because I told them, like, man, one time I had like a 300-pound black bear in my backyard. It was huge. And that's a good sized black bear. And I could tell they were kind of like, "Oh, tell us about that black bear again." Yeah, it was a huge black. How big was it? Oh, it was really big. It was, and I could tell. I knew as they were doing it. I'm like, they're gonna take this and they're gonna chop it up and they're gonna make it sound like I've had. So I knew they were doing it when they were doing it. I was like, I'm Mama Beans didn't raise no fool, but I was born yesterday. So sure enough, the show airs, and they did. It was pretty good, but sure enough, the narrator's like, at one point, Beans had a sighting of the bear, the short nosed bear of his own, and then they like edit my sighting of this, large but well within normal size black bear, to like, I saw a bear. It was huge. It was the hugest bear ever. It was a giant monster, and I kind of took that in stride. I was like, okay, well, it is what it is. And that kind of gave me a bad taste in the mouth as far as TV goes. And then I met up with Steven, and we did our Port Chatham thing, we did our Washington thing, and those were independent, and I felt like we had some control. And I told Steven the same thing, like, look, I'll help you out however I can, but I'm not going to lie. And I was extremely happy with the way those turned out. I thought they did a good job on them, and I didn't feel like anything was really misrepresented. And then through Steven, we also ended up getting into the Alaska Triangle and going out with that production company and doing season 1 of the Alaska Triangle, their Port Chatham episode. And I felt like that turned out really well, and they really represented us pretty good. And that's something that I appreciated, because they basically said, we're going to go out, we're going to film you guys doing your thing. You guys do your thing. Basically they would ask us every now and then, like, well, can you explain this, or can you tell us about that, or can you, elaborate on this? But they never asked us to exaggerate anything. And I thought that was really cool of them. Really good experience with them. And then I did the same thing with Aliens in Alaska. Basically, I said, look, I'll tell you guys, I'll sit down and talk to you guys, give you guys information that, but I'm not going to lie. And they did kind of, I'm not going to say they put some information in there that I'd never heard. They were basically trying to tie Port Chatham into maybe some alien activity or something. And they were talking about like possible UFO sightings around Port Chatham, which I personally have never really heard of or came across in my research. Kachemak Bay has had a flap of UFO sightings here, but not, as far as I know, in that area where Port Chatham is. So, I thought that was, but the guys I talked to or did that show, thought they were pretty good and honest, and I would consider working with those guys again. But we're here at that time of year, where they're starting to ramp up their schedule. They're getting ready to come up here and film this summer. And already this year, at least twice, I've been contacted by production companies saying like, hey, we're coming up there, we're interested in doing a show. And basically I've kind of, I've got a bad taste in my mouth with it from the last show that contacted me that I ended up not doing. And there's like 4 hours of me talking about that on previous episodes. Just Alaska, or Beans versus Alaska Killer Bigfoot. If you go back and listen to that, I'm not going to rehash all of that here, but basically I got contacted by that production company and just felt like, man, just something is not on the level, something's not right. Declined to participate, and was actually glad I did not. So I think it worked out for the best. And like I said, I've been contacted twice this year so far by production companies trying to get me to participate in shows they're going to be filming up here. And again, much like the last time, very secretive. They won't tell me the name of the shows. They won't tell me like what it's about. And I just didn't feel right about it. It's funny because it's like I get one email from them and I'm like, no, I'm not feeling this people. I'm not feeling these people at all. I'm the Squatch face of Alaska. That's true. I have a face for radio. Now I understand what you're saying though. It's true. I have somehow through no like attempt of mine, I'm synonymous with Bigfoot in Alaska now to some people, for better or worse, I guess. But yeah. And Grassman says truth equals bad TV. Yeah, sad. It's true. It's true because it's a lot like police work. You guys ever watch Cops? You know, Cops, one of the greatest shows on TV ever. I mean, how awesome is that? They put cameramen in the cars with the policemen while they're doing their job. Awesome concept, right? But let me tell you, if you watch Cops and you watch it really close, they edit the crap out of it. It is edited heavily. And a lot of it, and you can catch it every once in a while because a cop will be talking to a suspect and he'll be like, okay, remember when I said this, or a while ago you said this? And you're like, I didn't hear that guy say that. So they've edited it to shorten this. They've got to fit this probably hour and a half call that this cop's on. They've got to shorten that into about 10, 15 minutes of episode. And it's kind of the same thing with Bigfooting. You go out in the wood and, people say police work. It's, 9 hours of utter boredom and then 10 minutes of utter terror. And it's kind of the same with Bigfoot. You go out, you sit in the woods, you walk around the woods, nothing happens. Then something does happen and it's scary for a few minutes and then it's over. And again, that necessarily doesn't really translate well into TV, several of the video, and I know Alex Petikoff has the same issue with some of his videos. People comment, "Oh, nothing happened. This was boring," and stuff happens. Our Port Chatham documentary, the first one, people were saying like, "Oh, this is boring. They don't find anything." I felt we found quite a bit. We found some strange tracks. We heard some strange noises. I've got that thermal footage that mystifies me still to this day. I have no idea what that was or what that could have been. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. And people watch that video and they're like, nothing happened. It was boring. And I don't know. It's like, well, this is what really happened. It's not. We didn't build it up. We didn't dramatize it. It's literally what happened. And you see people get. And here, Alex is saying he's speaking the truth. People have been conditioned by garbage TV where they think as soon as the camera's on, there should be a Bigfoot TV brain rot. And he's 100% true. People watch these shows and they get conditioned to think like, oh, every time somebody goes Bigfooting, something happens. And that's not the case. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've went out and just nothing happened. Didn't even see like known animals. I live in Alaska. There's always moose, bear, porcupines, lynx, everything, all kinds of animals all around. And sometimes I'll go out and won't see anything, nothing. And it's just the way it is. It's just kind of a roll of the dice. And these people watch these TV shows that have been probably hours and hours and hours of footage, condensed down to the most compelling. And I'm sure some of it's probably dramatized for effect. And they watch honest, grounded research and they're like, well, this is boring. And then they turn over to the TV and watch, somebody film a porcupine on a thermal that says it's a Bigfoot. And they're like, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh my God, look at it. And that's a thing. Like there's a show, I'm not going to name names, but there's a show that had some thermal footage of a porcupine climbing a tree. And they're like, oh my God, there it is. There's a Bigfoot peeking behind the tree. 100% a porcupine. 100%. From somebody who has seen a porcupine climb a tree on a thermal, it was the porcupine climbing a tree. And they said it was a Bigfoot peeking around the tree. And, I get it. People, expect a lot, and then they get let down because there isn't a, contrary to popular belief, there isn't a Bigfoot in every patch of green timber, in between every subdivision. And I'm sorry, my dogs are snoring logs. I don't have the heart to kick them out. But yeah, it's I don't know. I know Will's talked about it a little bit before on his channel about how things kind of need to change. I don't know. I don't know I think what we could do as researchers, and what happens, I was talking about these production companies. They reach out to you, they start emailing you. And basically one of the first things they'll say is, can you point us towards some witnesses? Can you get us to talk? Can you find us somebody to talk to that we can interview? And, in my opinion, I mean, that's a big ask. That's a really big ask because number one, if you're a decent researcher, you should have told your witnesses that you've spoken to, hey, this is confidential. Whatever you tell me is confidential. I'm not going to go and tell other people about this, or I'm not going to use your name in public, or, whatever. You should basically agree to whatever level of anonymity they want or wish. And then, people get contacted by these TV companies, and they're like, oh, I got, yeah. Well, this guy, Dave saw a Bigfoot, and, Dave was like talking to you in confidence. That's not cool. Will says, Bigfoot is there in the videos. They're just invisible. Yeah. Those damn invisible Bigfoot. So yeah, you don't want to betray the witnesses that you've talked to. You don't want to betray their trust. What I have done in the past, and I've basically said I'm not going to do this anymore. What I have done is I'll reach out to the witness, say, hey, this company's they're looking for witnesses. They'd like to talk to you. Are you interested? And then if they're amicable, I'll make the introduction or give them the contact information for the production company. But I've pretty much decided I'm not even going to do that anymore. I feel like it's kind of like an ethical violation. I think that, if somebody entrusts that information to you to tell you about their encounter, I don't even think you should offer them up to a production company to make entertainment with, and then they use those interviews and stuff on television and get views and sell ad space, and then neither you or the witness really get any compensation from it. And that's the thing. Like I've never made a dime off of any television appearance I've ever made. And I actually, and full disclosure, I did that on purpose. I didn't want to have a conflict because the job that I had at the time, I needed approval to have a second job. And I'm like, well, if I'm not getting paid, it's not a job. But as I've spoken before, when I finally was offered compensation, when I was like, yes, I'm retired, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now I can profit, off my hard work. I can put this money back into research, and maybe I can buy a nicer FLIR or something. And they're like, we'll get, I'm like, yes, like, how much are we talking about here? And they're like, we'll give you $100. And that was kind of my like, oh, like, I don't think I would have made more than that for any of those other appearances, honestly. So yeah, I think that the best you can hope for is, $100, or maybe they'll buy you dinner or something like that. These shows, they don't have a huge budget. Most of their budgets get eaten up by traveling up here. And yeah, it's just not, it's not in your best interest to do it. They're going to take your hard work and they're going to parade it out for entertainment. And, you get that, oh, well, it's good exposure for you, it's exposure. And, it kind of, on the one hand, I'll agree with that. Yeah, it is good exposure. But, well, I mean, for example, like the other day, they reran Aliens in Alaska, the episode I was on. And I can always tell, like, I don't follow the schedule. I don't know when those shows air, but I can always tell when those shows come on because I'll wake up and I'll have like 3, 4, 5 friend requests on social media. And I'm like, I don't know any of these people. And what it is they showed either Alaska Triangle or Aliens in Alaska or something the night before. And it's kind of cool. And it's neat that, okay, well, these people, they want to know more about me and stuff, but at the same time, it's not furthering my research. I'm not having anybody from Alaska reach out to me and go, hey, let me tell you what happened to me and in Hope or in Kenai or whatever. It's not really giving me any good leads or sightings to work on. But I'm sure there's people that are out there that would just like the attention. But in my opinion, I think I would like to see a united front with Bigfoot researchers. Just basically, when you get contacted by these companies, just be like, well, no, like this is not really right. I don't want to violate the trust that the witnesses have placed in me to give you their information. And also, there's no benefit for me in this equation. Like, you guys are going to get to make a TV show, and then at the end of the day, I'm not going to be benefited at all. Maybe they give you a few bucks, maybe they buy you dinner. It takes a lot of time to do that filming, like a lot. The one that told me they were giving me $100, they're like, yeah, it'll be like a half hour interview, and I'm like, you're freaking lying. There's no way. Like, I couldn't tell them what I knew about the area they wanted to know about in an hour. Like, I would have to sit there and talk to them for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours or more. That's not counting all the time to get the lights set up and all that. And I don't know. It just very unrealistic expectation, I think. But yeah, I would like to see more researchers turning away some of these production companies. And honestly, guys, the independent guys that are doing this stuff, like Alex, Seth, Marshall, those guys, some of those videos that they get put out, like the Alaskan coastal Sasquatch, the thing's got over 1 million views. On a good day, most like Travel Channel cryptid shows, 500,000, 700,000 views, something like that. That's a good viewership. That's like, we're going to renew this show. So you can honestly get more views and more engagement on social media, on YouTube, with independent companies than you can on network television. And it's kind of funny because I get approached by these shows and they're like, hey, we want to do this or do that, and I'm like, I can do that. I can take my iPhone out in the woods and do what I want to do, and I don't have to worry about how you're going to portray me. And that's another thing too. If you're a grounded, boots on the ground researcher, maybe you're not into the woo so much, you really never know. At the end of the day, after that production company packs up and goes home, 6 months later, you don't know what's going to come on the TV. You have no idea. They may take the stuff that you've said, twist it around to make it, you say like, oh yeah, Bigfoot came out of a UFO and shook my hand. Or they might put you, because they own that footage, and they can necessarily say, well, we were going to go this direction, but now we've decided to go that direction. And now you're on a show, you're a grounded researcher and you're on a show about, Bigfoot and aliens. And that's not your area of expertise, and not even really something that a theory that you focus on or believe. And yeah, Marshall says trust is everything. And honestly, like I said, I've been very fortunate. The two productions that I did with the Travel Channel, I really felt that those guys were on the level. They were being straight with me. The one that I was approached that I denied, that I didn't do, didn't feel like it was on the level. The two that I've been contacted with this year didn't feel like they were on the level. So yeah, I mean, you've kind of got to just kind of feel it out. What does your gut tell you? But yeah, you really never know at the end of the day. And even if you do trust the production company, a lot of times it's the network that owns that footage. So okay, maybe they do produce a good show. I know some of the Alaska Triangle stuff has been like kind of cut and re-edited into like some different shows. It's the same footage, but they're showing now, they repackage it and call it like they did one for like with like Cliff Barackman, like Christmas or Christmas Sasquatch, or you hunt for the Yeti or something. And it was literally his segment he did for the Alaska Triangle. And they just kind of like re-edited it a little bit, repackaged it, and showed it as a new show. Yuletide Yeti, I think that was the name of it. I think it actually aired before Alaska Triangle. But they're just, man, they're snoozing. I wish I could sleep that good. They sleep through just about anything too. Unless I get up and leave the room, then I turn around. I'll take 2 steps out the room. I'll turn around. They'll be right behind me. All right. So I know, a lot of people kind of got down on Finding Bigfoot when it was on. They call it Not Finding Bigfoot. But honestly, in my opinion, and I was one of them, when Finding Bigfoot was on, I was like, they never find anything. But now, knowing what I know now, and hindsight being 2020, it's probably the best Bigfoot television show ever made, and we're probably lucky to get as many seasons of it as we did, because one, they took it seriously. The cast did. There's some cool stories out there that Cliff and those guys tell about how the production team was kind of wanting them to like, well, let's fake this, or let's pretend this happened, and they basically stood their ground and was like, no, we're not going to do that. And Finding Bigfoot eventually went away, and then we got this new crop of shows in that I feel, in my opinion, weren't necessarily as honest as Finding Bigfoot was. And we've got what we got now, which is basically what a lot of podcasts and television shows are today. I call it cryptid pasta, where it's basically like there's probably a 30% chance that the witnesses and stories and that stuff that they have going on is true. Maybe if we're lucky, 30%. Most of it is just fabrication and porcupines climbing trees. Yeah, Will says I enjoyed Finding Bigfoot. It got me back into the subject, and I actually I had watched it when it was on initially, not every single episode, but quite a bit of it. And then, my interest in Bigfoot has always kind of waxed and waned. And when I finally like started doing boots on the ground, when I started going out and looking, I kind of got into it again and started watching it. And that's when I was like, this is pretty good. Like it's not a bunch of drama. It's not a bunch of, what was that? Did you hear that? Which there is some of that. And there was some stuff where they would do that and they go to commercial break and they would come back. But you know what? When they did that, when they tease you like that, when they come back from the commercial break, they'd always be like, oh no, it was just Bobo, or oh, it was just this, or it was just that. And you got to give them some credit for that, because guys, there's shows out there now that don't do that. They'll be like, what was that? Somebody will say it's a Bigfoot, and it was a Bigfoot. That's what they say it was. And it was a porcupine climbing a tree. And Alex says the Finding Bigfoot cast basically threatened a mutiny after the production company pulled crap after season 1. And yeah, there's some really good stories out there about that. But it just goes to show you the lengths that they'll go to. These production companies will go to produce their shows. They don't care if Bigfoot's real or not. They don't. It does not matter to them. They're there to make a TV show. They're not there to look for Bigfoot. They're not there to find Bigfoot. They're there to make a show so they can sell ads. And that's kind of what it boils down to. Whereas with more your independent people, you get a little bit more, I feel, honesty and integrity. Okay, you know what? We didn't find Bigfoot, but you know what? We saw a moose, or we saw a bear, or we saw this, or we saw that, and we talked about that. That's just as interesting to a lot of people as a porcupine climbing a tree and then saying, "Oh my God, it's Bigfoot." There he goes. He's having a bad dream, and he decided he was going to bark at it. So, but you know what? I will say negatively about Finding Bigfoot is I feel like because they would go to a different state just about every episode, and they would have people show up and kind of take them to places, and I don't feel like those people got enough credit. They would kind of say their name, and they would kind of be like, "Oh, this is so and so," and they made a lot of them seem like, especially people that had encounters, it would kind of make them seem like they were just regular witnesses, when in fact they were actually like investigators that had been in the game for a long time. Upper Canada Sasquatch wants to ask about the cast on the wall behind me. That over there, I don't know. That was actually a gift from Michael Thompson, the Sasquatch tracker. He gave that to me. I believe it was at the last Boreal Bigfoot Expo. And, I've never asked him about it. I guess I should ask him where it came from and what the story is behind it. Yeah. I've got another one. Let me see. I've got another one back there on my bookshelf. See that one right? That one is actually, I got that one from Dr. Meldrum. And that is actually a cast that Roger Patterson cast in Bluff Creek. It's not Patty cast. It was before Patty, I think. And that one's a really cool one. But yeah, Michael Thompson gave me that one on the wall back there. I gotta ask him one day where that came from. We're actually going to be, Michael's going to be doing some a casting demonstration or class at the Boreal Bigfoot Expo. I believe we might have to be waiting for some permissions for that to see if we can do that. But I think we're going to set up like a tent outside, and he's going to show people how to cast tracks. So that should be a really cool time. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to jump off here because I've been going for about 40 minutes. I think my little man's going to be getting home from the vet with his new rabies inoculation. And I'm going to get off here before all the dogs go crazy and start barking and howling. Appreciate everybody that watched. Don't forget, you can head over to the AlasquatchPodcast.com website. You can pick up some cool Alasquatch gear. I've got some cool stickers. You can get my books, and I will autograph them and ship them to you from this room right here in Alaska. Or you can head over to Amazon, order them there if you don't want to worry about paying for shipping. What else? Don't forget about the Boreal Bigfoot Expo. Head over there, take a look at some of the amazing speakers we're going to have this year. It's going to be a really cool experience this year. Bigger than last year's, or well, not last year's, but the year before last. I think we're really going to have a good time. I think it's going to be special. And I appreciate all you guys that watched. Going to have something, probably not next week, but the week after. I've got some information, and I've kind of been toying with what to do with it. And I thought I tried to do the right thing with it, and I kind of didn't go the direction I expected. So I think I might do a show about it and just kind of see what the masses think about it and get some information out there. Basically, some of the databases out there that people use for research are not as accurate as we would like to think they are. And that'll be kind of like a breaking news exclusive, I guess, on the Last Watch. But yeah, I love interacting with you guys. I love seeing your guys' comments come in. Marshall, great job. You're a natural at this. I don't feel like a natural. I'll tell you guys a real quick funny story before I go. The handprint that Alex Pedikov found up here in Alaska last year. They asked me to come out there and swab it for DNA and try and lift it. And so I agreed, and I went out there and to do it. And I had, I filmed the entire process. It's like a 30-minute long video of me, like swabbing each finger and then doing the thing and labeling the swabs and putting them all up. And I'm narrating it as I'm going along. I'm talking, excuse me, to the camera, like, okay, I'm going to swab this, and now I'm going to like swab this, and I'm going to label this finger 1, finger 2, whatever. And I sent all that. I sent the swabs and the video. I wrote a little report. Basically, I treated it just like I would a crime scene. Wrote a little report and sent the report, the video, and the swabs to Doug Hychek. And Doug Hychek got everything, and he like watched the video, and he said something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was like, "Man, Beans, you missed your calling. You should have been a journalist or something like that." And I was like, he knows I was a cop, right? Because I was literally like, that's what I would do at a crime scene is, film everything, take pictures and swab everything. And I just thought it was kind of funny. He was like, you should have been a photojournalist. I was like, well, I was a cop for like 15 years. So, it was my job to document things doing that. So anyway, guys, appreciate you all watching. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for tonight. And I will see you back here in a couple of weeks with another show. All right. Take care.